Hi everyone, Juju here, and welcome to Juju's Collectibles Corner. Today we're going to do a little bit more comic book talking here, mainly with your comic book supplies, focusing on the boards. If anybody, for all of you who are watching who are comic book collectors, I know you're buying your bags and your boards, um, and you're always looking for the right way to bag and board your comic books. And you may be wondering why there are two different sides of the board. One has a little bit more smoother, glossy feel. The other one is a more flat, rough feel. So when you're bagging your comic books, you mainly want to use your glossy, smooth side for what the back of your comic book will be up against. This side will give you the longest lasting life out of the board, because it's manufactured to be less um, reactive with the ink on your comic books. The other side, the flat, rough side, is how I describe it. Um, it absorbs more from your comic books over time. So with the two different sides, they protect the board. They protect the comic book, either way. They keep it nice and flat and smooth. The glossy, smooth side protects your comic book longer than the flat, rough side. Um, Now, depending on how long you leave the comic bagged and board in the same bag with the same bag and board, either side will still have that transfer of the ink from from the back of your page of your comic book to the board. You'll get much longer life out of the glossy smooth side than you will on the rough side. So I have some examples here that I've found going through this first collection that I bought, where the comic books obviously were in bags and boards for a lot longer than they should have been. So this is one example where the transfer happened on the flat rough side, but on the smooth glossy side, which they didn't use, it's completely perfect. But because they had bagged it with the wrong side being up against the comic book, there was a lot of transfer that happened from the back of the comic book to the board. I have several examples here. This one, same thing. Not much in the middle, but at the top and the bottom definitely had to transfer. And then this board here almost has like an exact copy of the back page of the comic book right onto the board. And this is, like I said, the flat, rough side of the board. Now, it will happen with the glossy, smooth side as well, but it takes longer for it to happen. So this one is where it's the smooth, glossy side had the transfer as well, not nearly as visible as the flat, rough side, but it still does happen. And then on the other side of the board is the flat, rough, where it didn't have any. This is a case of where the comic book was left in the bag and board for too long. And like I said, it will happen. It's not as noticeable, but it is still there on the smooth, glossy side. This is why when you bag and board your comic books after so many years, you do have to go back and rebag and board them. The only way to not have this happen is if you pay a little bit more money and you get Mylar bags. Um, Now, I don't know if the Mylar bags keep the transfer from the comic book to the board less, or if that still happens over time. It's something that I have not seen in my collection, although I've only recently started using the Mylar bags. Um, but if you're using just the regular standard bags and regular standard boards, you will some people do it every few years. Some people do it maybe once every 5, or some people may even go longer and go 10 years, and then they end up having to rebag and board everything. The Mylar bags, from what I have gathered, you don't. I shouldn't have to change any of my PC comics um, out of those bags and boards potentially while I'm alive. I will see how that goes. Like I said, this is the first time I've gone into using Mylar. I am using the Comic Pro line Mylar bags, mainly because the cost. Um, and from what I have seen so far, their quality is there, in my opinion. I have not had any issue with any of the bags and boards that I have bought from Comic Pro line. They look to be really good, and they're holding up. So over time, like I said, we'll see what happens. But this is the main reason why you want to always double check your boards. Make sure make sure you're using the right side when you bag your comic books. You're going to get your longer life on the glossy smooth side. You don't want to do it up against this side. If you're the type of person who double bags comic books, you double up your books in your bag and board, get a Silver Age bag. Make sure you're putting 2 boards, one so that both backs of the comic books, if you're double bagging, have the smooth side on them. You want that smooth side on the back of your comic book to help protect it longer. So yeah, what I've found is you want that smooth side always on the back of your comic. It will help protect the back of the comic book longer, and you'll get longer life out of the back of the board as well by using that smooth glossy side. So if you have any opinions on this, please comment. Let me know what you think. I'm always looking to hear what people think and how they do their, how they handle their PC, their personal collection. I've got in my personal collection, I've almost got 2,000 comic books. I've built it back up over the last 5 years because I had sold off my original collection back in 2010, and I got back into collecting around 2021 is when I started. 2021 is when I started collecting again, and I've built back up to almost 2,000. I mainly look for older Image comics right now. There are some new stuff that I am buying. I love Absolute Batman. Great story. Really cool. I like the new Batman with Matt Fraction doing the story. And there's a couple others. There's a couple others that I like. Thank you for watching. Please check out my Facebook group, Juju's Collectibles Corner on Facebook. It's public. Check it out. Please join. I'd love to talk to more people. Get your opinions on what you like in comic books, what you don't like in comic books. Who's your favorite artist? Who's your favorite writer? What's your favorite comic book? And just to help build community. I love comic books, so this is what I want to do. If I could open my own store, I would open up my own store, but just don't have the money right now. Thank you again. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, share out. Have a good evening, morning, noon, night, whatever time it is for y'all. I will be at the Charlotte. There's a small Charlotte comic convention tomorrow on Sunday, December 7th. I will be going. I might try and live stream while I'm there. I don't know. Definitely will be doing some video while I'm there, and I'm just going to be looking for some fun stuff to buy. I got some specific stuff that I'm looking for, and then maybe see if I can pick up some cheap comic books somewhere. You never know. Thank you all again, and I'll see you all later. Bye.